Who needs to go to Epic Universe's Dark Universe when you have your own monster vibes at home? Hey Ghoster Squad, if you're anything like me, you've probably been moping at home watching all the Dark Universe videos wishing you could be there too. And it has definitely hit my little heart so hard, but I figured that it was time to finally share what Mr. Spooks and I have been working on, which is finally transforming our entire home into our very own Dark Universe. Before we get started, my name is Mandy Spooks, and this is our spooky oasis, and I live my best spooky life so that you can too. So let's start our tour so that hopefully I can inspire you to have your very own monster-themed home. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. There is more monster vibes to come, but here in the entrance we have our spooky queens, of course, and then we do have this little like welcoming area where we have like our horror posters, or Mr. Spooks' spooky hats on the go, my spooky sunnies, our horror collection, and then our board games, our horror board games, lots of spooky vibes as you can tell. And then we get into the monster vibes here with our monster posters. They're finally back. We have the Mummy, Wolfman, and Dracula here. And then we did want to spice up our TV a little bit, so I decided to add monster hands underneath it so that it could just have something spooky, because it's so big that it's hard to decorate sometimes. So I just wanted like one little monster accent on it. This is where it gets really cool though. So we have the Judith Myers tombstone here, of course. We always got to pay tribute to one of my favorite monsters, Michael Myers. And then, of course, the man, Frankenstein. This is a door cover from Spirit. And he's just here so I could always cozy up with my man. Just kidding, Mr. Spooks. And then here is my most prized possession, my coffin. Mr. Spooks handmade this for me when we moved to Colorado. It was originally a coat rack, but now that we have so much space, we don't really need it for coat hanging anymore. So he thought of keeping one of the hooks to hang and display our skeleton. If you want to see me dancing with him, you can check out my Instagram. And then we also have this bat up here that was a gift from my father-in-law, which is super cute. And I love how like the shadow also comes up on top. And then I finally made the jump into the Victorian life and got these Victorian themed curtains. I was hesitant because I feel like I'm more of a modern monster girly, you know, but this really brought our entire home together. And I'm so glad that Mr. Spooks convinced me to do it. And then we have our monster music corner. We also have Elvira right here, which I have to call out because that poster is just incredible. And then I tried to hang all of our monster records we have. We need a few more, as you can tell, but I also have these cool candelabras that I got at Walmart one year on clearance. And then the monster plushies. I regret not getting Wolfman now, but I have Dracula and Frankenstein. And then we have these cool spinachers with these three monsters here. And that is our corner of music. And then, hello, my little monster over here, Lolo. Then we have our cozy living space. So as you can tell, I am obsessed with this pattern from Evan Sprout. This is the matching blanket. I have the cardigan and the slippers on. And then my favorite part of the entire apartment layout that we have is the mantle, of course. So we have my bride and Frankenstein bus with more candelabras and a spooky vintage phone, and my ornate mirror, of course, with a home sweet haunted home sign. And then we also have a very boring kitchen. Ta-da! This is a work in progress. I do have like my monster stuff on the fridge, but the space is just so small, it's a little hard to decorate. So it's a work in progress. And then I also have my monster tikis down here that I feel I never really show. So we'll definitely be using those during Summerween. Pardon our dust and cobwebs, we're just a little spooky here. And then of course my spooky coffee bar with my Scream Queens again with their brew, all my mugs, and then of course the coffin letterboard. I wanted to call it a tombstone with a monster quote on it. And then this is the newest addition with our monster masks. I freaking love it. And then I'm super excited to share with you guys our bedroom. It's the first time we're finally ready to show it. So as you can see, It is Monster and His Bride, Frankenstein. And I'm very proud of this section here. I finally completed my Vixen by Love, Pain, and Stitches collection with the creature here. So I figured it's only fair to display my monster bags. And I added this vampire one to kind of like even out the set since they only had 3 in them. And then, of course, I do have all of my spooky clothing here so that it's easy on the go and it doesn't get mixed up with like my everyday boring clothes, you know? We have some blood, some Sally, some spider webs, more spider webs. I really like spider webs apparently. And then of course I did add some Victorian curtains in here as well to just really bring the space together. And then if you've been following us for a while, you know the history of these iconic red theater seats. They are from the original Plaza Theater in El Paso, Texas. So they carry a lot of history, but thankfully I can confirm no haunted history. When we first moved them into our bedroom, I was like, oh no, what if they're haunted? But I can confirm nothing spooky has happened around here. Thankfully, not unfortunately. And then of course we did add our Frankenstein and Bride posters here. I always regretted not putting them in the bedroom because it just seems like the right thing to do. So now we finally did that. And then I finally invested in the right comforter set, which is this purple pleated Victorian style bed set. You can't see it very well with the lighting, but it is a royal dark purple and it's perfect to match my vibe, of course. So I do want to remind you guys that these things take time. I know it can be easy to see content creators and influencers show their best spooky life and then just feel like I'll never get there. This is over 5 years in the making. Some of these things I've had forever, like these seats we've had forever, you know. I have linked everything in the description below, including like the monster cardigan, like everything I could possibly find for you guys. I have links so you could always come back to it if you want to revisit it later, or you could browse around and see what may be in your budget now. But if you want a little more spooky inspo, you can check out my Decorate My Spooky Coffee Bar with me right here, where I've showed you how I went through the process of picking the right mugs and putting the whole thing together. Until next time, sending you ghouls and kisses. Bye!